Hey guys, so if you've seen my last video, I showed you guys exactly how to formulate a very basic face wash. So in this video, we are actually going to go and make the face wash. And this is all part of my new series called How to Formulate Cosmetics for Beginners. So if you are a beginner, I will link the playlist down below so you can check out all the videos to this series. So the first thing you're going to need is a digital scale that weighs to 0.01 grams and a heat safe container. I'm using this 250 milliliter glass beaker. So if you didn't see the last video, go watch it. I will link it down below so you can figure out exactly how we came up with this formula. So here's the formula broken down into percents. And if you don't know how to transfer the formula into a weighed out recipe, I showed you guys exactly how to do that in a past video. So I'll link that video down in the description box as well. So for this recipe, I am only going to be making a 2-ounce bottle, so we're not going to be making too much. But like I said in the video where I show you guys how to transfer percents to a weighed out recipe, you can just transfer it to however much you want to make. So this is a very basic face wash. It involves only very simple ingredients, nothing too extravagant. So even somebody who's just starting out should be able to make this face wash. So we're starting out with 38.1 grams of distilled water. If you want to use some hydrosols or aloe vera liquid, you definitely can instead of water here. Next, we're going to be using 3 grams of vegetable glycerin, and that is all we're using for our water phase. So go ahead and place your beaker to the side and grab another heat safe container. Again, I'm just using a 250 milliliter beaker, and this beaker is going to be for our oil phase. And I'm just using 6 grams of olive oil, which you can use any carrier oil you would like. And then I'm going to be using soy lecithin as a co-emulsifier, and it also works as an emollient to add moisture to the skin. If you don't have soy lecithin, this recipe should still work out perfectly fine for you. But I personally love this ingredient, so that is why I'm using it. And I'm using 1.2 grams of the soy lecithin. Now you just want to mix the soy lecithin in until it dissolves into the olive oil. So now both of your phases are complete, and the next thing we're going to do is just pour some distilled water into another glass beaker, and you guys will see exactly what we're going to be doing with this here in a minute. But all you need is just a little bit of distilled water in any kind of heat safe container. It doesn't really matter how much you use, you just want a good little bit. And the next thing you want to do is weigh your water phase, including the weight of the beaker. And the weight of this beaker plus the water phase is 144.81 grams. And we're going to be coming back to this number here in a minute. So just make sure you're jotting down how much water is in your water phase, including your beaker. So now it's time for us to create a water bath. You do this by taking a pan and filling it up with about 1 inch of water. And you want to place your oil phase and your water phase both into the pan. We're also going to be placing our third beaker with just distilled water into the pan as well. We're going to be heating all these beakers up to about 158 degrees Fahrenheit and holding it there for 20 minutes. You also want to take some aluminum foil and cover up each beaker just to eliminate anything from falling in like dust or bugs, and it will also help eliminate a little bit of evaporation that might happen to the water phase. And we're going to be using this temperature gun here. I'll link it down below if you guys don't know where to purchase one, to keep track of the temperature to make sure it reaches 158 degrees and stays there for 20 minutes to sterilize everything. So now is when we use the water phase amount that we wrote down earlier. So go ahead and take your water phase and remove the aluminum foil and weigh it. So I lost a little bit more than a gram of water. So we're just going to replace the amount of water that we lost from evaporation when we heated it up. Now you want to do this with any formulation that includes water. I just don't mention it in every single video because it's a little confusing and it just takes a lot to explain. So just remember you want to do this anytime you're formulating anything with water because you will have water that evaporates during the heated phase. So now you just want to pour the water phase into the oil phase. Always do it this way, it just works out better that way. And now we are adding in our xanthan gum. I added in 0.3 grams of the xanthan gum. This works as our thickener, and you want to add it in while the formulation is still warm because the warmth helps dissolve the xanthan gum way better. And now you want to take an immersion blender and blend everything up. You can mix it by hand, but an immersion blender just makes it so much easier and the process go way faster. So I always recommend using an immersion blender. So now everything is well blended and combined, and if you want it any thicker, you can add more xanthan gum, but I recommend waiting about 24 hours before you add more because it won't reach its full thickness until about 24 hours has passed. So now it's time to add our surfactants. So I'm going to be using cocoa glucoside as my co-surfactant, and this also works as an emulsifier, so it'll help keep the oils blended with the water. And I added in 6 grams of the cocoa glucoside. So now I'm using gentle foam, which is our main surfactant, which is our anionic surfactant. If you don't know anything about surfactants, I'll link down below to my video all about surfactants so you can understand how I decided which two to use. and I added in 3 grams of gentle foam. Now you just want to gently mix in the surfactants, trying not to create any foam or lather because these foam up pretty easily, which is why we added them after we mixed the formulation up with the immersion blender. So now it's time to take the pH and balance out the pH. This is really important for our preservative because every preservative is pH sensitive. So you want to make sure you have a pH in between the pH levels that your preservative is active. And I balanced mine out to 5.5. And if you don't know how to balance pH levels, I will link down below to a video that shows you guys exactly how to do that. So once it has reached around room temperature, you can add in your preservative. Some preservatives are more heat sensitive. This one actually isn't too heat sensitive. I'm using Lewiscidal SF Complete, and I added in 2.4 grams of the Lewiscidal SF Complete, but you can use whatever preservative you want. Just make sure you're using it in between the suggested usage rate. So now we are finished, and it's all time to bottle up our face wash. I'm using this 2-ounce plastic bottle. I'll link down below to where you can purchase these. I buy them in bulk, but I'll also try to find them on Amazon so you can purchase just like 10 of them instead of 50 or 100. And then I created a little customized label. If you don't know how to make labels, I will link to that video as well down in the description box so you guys can figure out how I make my labels and how I waterproof them. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this really simple, basic formula. If you want to make this face wash any thicker, go ahead and use 1% xanthan gum. My favorite is around 0.5%, but you can do it however you want to do it. And if you guys didn't see my last video where I show you guys how to formulate a face wash yourself, then go over and watch that video so you can figure out how we came up with this recipe. Before this video comes to an end, I want to give a special shout out to herbalist Tracy, who owns Essence of Nature over on Etsy. She sells all kinds of natural homemade skincare products, and they're all really unique. She has some products I haven't seen anywhere else, so go over there and check out her shop. She has so many great things, great customer service, and I'll have a review for her products coming very soon. Next up is Musical Mood Ring, who owns Stardust Bath and Body. She doesn't have her website up yet, but you can totally go over to her Instagram and follow her over there and see what products that'll be coming very soon. But head on over to her website, Stardust Bath and Body, put in your email address, that way you can be notified right when her website goes live. And last but not least is Nature's Farm Girl. The owner of the shop is so sweet, and her and I chit chat all the time. So definitely go over there and check out her website and show her some love. She has so many different products over there, and I'm sure you'll find something you love. So if you want to be mentioned on my channel, then hop on over to my Patreon and subscribe to my shout out tier. Not every single tier will get you a shout out, but I do appreciate any support that I get over on my Patreon. But if you're looking for a shout out and an opportunity to have a link in my description box, make sure you are part of the shout out tier. Thank you all so much for your support over on my Patreon. It means so much. So I do hope you guys are enjoying this series of how to formulate cosmetics for beginners. Let me know if you have suggestions for any other videos in this series. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I'm stuck in the motions.